Why freelance? A lot of people often wonder that, when they are doing jobs, why are others looking to freelance? My opinion now, I've been freelancing for about more than 4 years now. I would say that it's primarily more than the money, because money often is erratic. Money is not often superb. It can really be great at times. There are some months which I've earned money more than what I would have earned in a job over a much longer period of time. But I would say that mostly it is about the freedom. The word free, you can see that freelance, freedom. So it's about freedom. I love the freedom that I enjoy with freelancing. I don't need to go out and commute, so that's a big advantage. I hate the traffic, the pollution, the noise, this entire routine of having to get up at a certain time, leave the house, then again come back. You're all drained and doing a lot of things which are probably at the end of the day not so productive, because today you have offices which are located at a significant distance. So what happens is you end up wasting, not even spending, wasting a lot of time commuting. So that time I save, the whole effort of getting ready and going to work I save. I don't need to, wherever I'm that this current position of mine can very well be my office. So these are the things which I like, and trust me when I say that income can actually be very good. A lot of freelancers don't earn much money, and they would love to earn much more money because they don't focus their efforts suitably. If you focus your efforts in the right direction, you maintain discipline, because discipline is another thing which is very important. In fact, I would say self discipline is probably the most important aspect of freelancing. If you're not self disciplined, if you don't maintain certain routines, because there are some things which don't really change, when whether it's doing a job or whether it's freelancing. There's some things which don't change, and discipline, sticking to a certain routine, making sure that because here you're actually doing a lot more work. In a job you might have, on paper at least you have that 8 hour or 9 hour window, whatever it may be, that you're at work. But then, are you really like working every single minute? No. You might be standing near the water cooler, you might be doing whatever, but then you're quite likely not working the entire duration. But here, on any freelance platform, it's more like it's what I call cut to cut. You if you've picked up a project, say for uh, designing a logo or writing a certain number of articles, you're paid exactly for that. So there's no other leeway. So therefore you have to make sure that you maintain that discipline at all times. You ensure that you are constantly working, because you'll not be, if you've got a project for 10 articles, you'll not be paid even when you've completed 9. So therefore it's very important that you pick up a project, you start work on it, and you suitably finish it. Otherwise, you know you keep prolonging it, it doesn't work out successfully in any way. So anyway, coming back to why freelancing, why it because of the freedom, because of the lack of commute, because of the lack of that kind of routine. When I said routine, I said routine in terms of working, but otherwise this whole routine of have Monday to Friday, I'm completely out of bounds. What I find with freelancing is that there's a lot of flexibility. Suppose I have a girlfriend who's, say, free on a Monday afternoon, and she would probably like to go out for a movie with me. I can actually do that while as a freelancer, but I can't really do that with a job, because I know that whatever be the case, I can't just slip out of work and go out with her. But when I'm freelancing and I know that I have X amount of work which needs to be delivered by a certain date, I'm not being accounted for every single minute or hour which I might be which I might require to invest. I am accounted for the overall duration. So if I take a project which needs to be delivered in, say, 1 week, all I need to do is that within that 1 week I'm able to deliver that project. Other than that, which time I'm working or what time I'm working, how I'm planning my time, during that 1 week is actually immaterial to the client. All he or she might have told me is that I need to deliver. So therefore, that flexibility for me is, extremely important and enticing from the freelancing perspective. So, and also, there's one thing which a lot of people don't realize yet. In fact, people think, oh, freelancing, there's too much of insecurity. But I would say that in the current economic and business scenario, where a lot of established companies, I mean, who knew that Lehman Brothers would you know pack up overnight practically? So these things happen. Kodak has now filed for bankruptcy. So things are very very unpredictable, and in that scenario, I feel it's better to divide your sources of income, or rather multiply your sources of income, rather than depend on one single source. And that's again where I find that freelancing really scores, because here you're not depending on a single source. You have probably 10 projects, even if they are small in size, they're from 10 different clients, and ultimately you know that when you've completed the work on all the 10, you'll be paid by them, and then you could have a fresh start. You can very well work with these same clients, because I myself have worked a lot on repeat projects. But at the same time, there are a lot of these one time one offs, which they're called, and they're essentially about somebody just having a single requirement which may not be repetitive in nature. And that kind of clients are actually so many. So you're never depending on one single source of income, one single source of work. There's ample work, and the ample clients, so there's that element of insecurity is practically not there at all. And therefore that's another major motivation for me as far as freelancing is concerned. So when I take all of these things into perspective, what I see is that freelancing really scores in so many different ways. Now, whether it's perfect or not, I won't probably say that it is entirely perfect, because there are always limitations. You're working alone, you don't have a social environment, you don't have people whom you're interacting with. Often, you even if there are people who want to interact with you, you know that that's not probably what you should be doing, because you have a project deadline which needs to be uh, you know kind of, you need to fulfill that and come good on that deadline. Need to make sure that you deliver. So accordingly, you need to give up on a lot of temptations which might be there, and they're very tempting when you're freelancing. They're very tempting, but you need to maintain that self discipline. So there are these certain limitations. Payment, you need to work much more, because here when you freelance, you need to make sure that you deliver the work, you do the invoicing, you make sure that payments are in. And ideally, if you're working through freelance sites, then it's always better that you work through escrow. That's where you know that the money is definitely gonna come. And unless you do an absolutely shoddy job, as long as you've delivered work which the client requires, and he or she is satisfied with whatever you have to give, there's almost no way that you will not be paid for it. So these things are there, but you need to work toward that, invoicing, billing, everything. And then payments take time. Payments are often delayed. A client may take, say, a week to just review your work, and then you're paid. Then that money to actually come to your bank account or wherever, on some debit card, whatever you might have, that again takes more time. So these things are there, whereas in a job, you know that at the end of the month, there's a certain paycheck or salary which will be credited to your bank account, which you're sure of. You know for sure that will happen, come what may. But here, there'll be certain days which you might have nothing. There's always an ebb and flow, between funds. That's where I feel it's very important that also you have certain financial management. It's very important that, suppose you've had a good project and some good money coming in, instead of blowing it all up, because on freelancing there's often this tendency. I've done it myself, that got some money, blown it off, splurged on some item, took a holiday, royal holiday. So I've done all that. So that's where I would say that maintaining discipline and having a certain target, where you make it a point that, okay, I'm gonna save this much of whatever I earn. And also before that, try and have a target that, okay, this month I'm going to earn this much. People have all different kinds of targets, which often are not really sensible. They say, okay, I'm going to do X number of projects. That those projects may be very low paying ones. So therefore, I think having financial targets makes a lot more sense. And if you do that, and then you make sure that you achieve it, and from that try and save a certain amount of money as an investment, that's where you'll find that freelancing will really pay. And that's when you will not be too worried that, oh, this client hasn't paid and now I don't have any money at all. That kind of situation you don't want. As long as these negatives are taken care of, I feel that freelancing, when I take the positives into consideration, it scores big time, big time. Nothing like doing working as a freelancer versus suffocating in a job. So my summation is that in case you're already a freelancer or you're a budding one and you're an aspiring one, take the plunge, because you'll never know. This is one fruit which you need to savor to actually enjoy and understand how it tastes. So therefore, try it. You'll in all probability you'll be hooked so much that you'll not want to go back to a job. There are insecurities. There are always these feelings that, oh my god, maybe something will go wrong, but you have to try it. And in all probability, if you've got things in place, there's really no reason that you should not succeed. So good luck. And freelancing is really amazing. So that therefore, if you had this question on your mind, why freelancing, I hope I've been able to give you some concrete answers to that. Cheers.